Hello everyone, my name is Brandy Wolf. I am the Oracle of Shadows and a spiritual counselor. And I thought I would talk about something that I'll raise awareness with that happened yesterday, which was Sunday. I'm recording this on Monday, but I'm going to put this out, I think, on Wednesday. But anyway, let's see, Wednesday, that would be the 20th, I think. But anyway, my son, who is 9 years old, has ADHD. And he's very extroverted. He wants to make friends. He wants to be friends with everyone, everybody. And he's willing to do anything and everything to be friends with somebody. Now, me saying that, there was an incident that happened yesterday on PlayStation. He has a PlayStation 5, PS5. And there's the couple of kids, there's quite a few, but these two in particular, I've been after him for at least 2 weeks to block because they are not friend material, and they've made him cry on several occasions. And I've had to have him turn off his PlayStation to calm down. And he always doesn't want to. He wants to keep the friends he has. He doesn't want to lose people, even if they treat him horribly. So yesterday, there was an incident where he was bullied into saying a bullying statement to another player. And it was to the player that wanted him to say this to him. And he was like, I don't want to. I don't want to do that. And they were threatening him. They were threatening him, bullying him to say a bullying statement. So my son thought that if he said it in whisper, to where it doesn't seem like it's very threatening, he would be okay. And he came to me afterwards because I guess he finally thought about it. And he told me what he did. And I said, Xander, you don't say things like that. You don't do things like that. That, a friend, when you're playing a game, would want you to, will probably tell you to help with a quest, or to join a group or something like that. I said, bullying you to make a bullying statement, you don't do that. You don't do that. I understand that you want to make friends, that you're desperate to make friends. And you want to make friends with everyone. But you have to realize that some people do not have good intentions. And this was not a good intention. So then this morning, Monday morning, I get his emails. And he had a code of conduct email sent to where his account is temporarily suspended by PlayStation. And I made him read it. And he feels bad, but he also feels like it wasn't his fault because he was bullied into saying a bullying statement, even though he whispered it. And I kept telling him, I said, that's why I keep telling you to block these people, these so-called friends, because they're not friends. They're not friends when they do something like this. And I did reach out to ask PlayStation. I know they're more than likely not going to do anything, read anything, but I gave a suggestion that there needs to be a before, during, and after instead of just recording what was said and sending it off, like what was said before what my son said, what was said after what my son said. There needs to be more in-depth investigation when it comes to things like this. So now he's miserable. Well, I mean, he's a child. He feels bad, but he feels like it wasn't his fault because he was bullied into doing this. And I can understand his, situation. I'm not saying that my son is an angel, because I know he's not. My son is no angel. And, I know that, but I know he wouldn't say things like that because he is so desperate for friendship, for companionship, for playing with other people, and for having fun. I know this, not only online, but also in school. He gave his favorite toy to a bully, and the bully still bullied him, even though he went against my wishes when I told him he shouldn't do that, and he did it anyway. But it hurts as a parent when you're trying to get your child to understand that not everybody has good intentions. Not everybody is a good friend or a friend in general. That some have bad and evil intentions. And so I feel sorry for him. And yeah, like I said, I did reach out. I sent I went on X, sent a message. Well, I sent a tweet basically to ask PlayStation, and I told them the situation. And, maybe there should be a suggestion before you go off suspending accounts, get absolute proof that the person was bullying somebody, like before, during, and after. Not just going by what was recorded, because I don't think they did a very in-depth investigation. Bullying is a serious topic, but it's even worse when your child is bullied into saying a bullying statement that gets recorded and sent off to PlayStation or sent off to wherever. That's not cool. And that's a horrible thing to do to a 9-year-old boy, to a 9-year-old child who wants to make friends, who is desperate for friends, who would do anything for his friends. And he got treated like that. He got treated horribly. I'm glad that it's just temporary, that they didn't completely suspend his account. They only suspended it for a week. He has until next Monday. But in a way, it also teaches him a lesson, even though I don't like the way it was done. I mean, he needed to know, he needed to basically have it pushed in his face that these people are not his people, not his tribe. They don't have good intentions. And I believe this hit him to where he realized it. And he finally blocked the 2 accounts that kept constantly making him cry. Well, I know there are a couple others, but these 2 in particular that constantly made him cry and that got him in trouble with PlayStation. He finally blocked the accounts. It's sad it had to get to this point, but he needed to have a wake-up call. That's what I was trying to say, a wake-up call. So me and him, we've been talking, and I've been talking, I keep mentioning it to where he understands just a horrible thing for a 9-year-old boy to go through that's desperate for friends. And he gets treated like this. And he's very unhappy. He doesn't get to play Roblox. He's totally unhappy. He doesn't get to play on his online games. Doesn't get to voice chat. And he's going to be miserable this week. But he needed to learn that you can't trust people. And I don't like how he's learning it. I don't like the situation that he got into, but it is what it is. So we're going to be working more on that. But I thought I would share a little bit of my life, of what's happened so far this week. That's on a Monday that I get this information. Well, he gets his account suspended. I knew Sunday. I didn't know what to expect. I was hoping that they were just teasing him. They wouldn't send something like this out. But apparently they did. So I just wish there was a better, more in-depth investigation done by PlayStation instead of going by what one person recorded. Like what was said beforehand, what was said after, during, and what was said after. Because then the truth would be known, the full truth, that he was bullied into saying a bullying statement because he was trying to keep his friends, or who he considered his friends. And this can be also a lesson to other parents as well. I should have had him block those people when they first made him cry. I should have. I told him he should, but he didn't. But now he's learned his lesson. So we'll see what happens. Have a great week.